We can see how the emphasis and the expectations from education underwent dramatic shifts. However, each shift shows the reflection of the need of the social setup at the particular time. It also depicts increase in the comprehensiveness and the refinement of the policies. Up to the end of the third five-year plan 1969, school education failed to respond to the emerging social and economic needs of India. Literacy gains were not impressive. So was the performance of the primary education sector. Though education during this period expanded in terms of enrollment, numbers of institutions and teachers and expenditure, the nation was not able to fulfill its constitutional obligation of universalizing elementary education and achieving the goal of equity and social justice through education. The Constitution of the Education Commission 1964 to 1966 is considered as one of the significant landmarks in the history of Indian education. It adopted a comprehensive approach to reconstruct education and develop a blueprint for a national system of education. The Commission firmly believed that education is a powerful instrument to bring about the desired changes in Indian society, more so when the country was challenged with problems of population explosion, poverty, poor economic growth, social stratification, and political turmoil. The Commission identified modernization as the central issue of the social context in which Indian society was situated and required education to respond to the challenges of modernization. It believed that education should recognize the phenomenon of the explosion of knowledge and emphasize the need for developing critical and creative mental faculties through a new approach. It also felt that education should prepare individuals with open, inquiring, thinking, and judging minds rather than act as a mere transmitter of knowledge. Of the many salient features of the Commission, it recommended 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern of education, the creation of a socially cohesive and egalitarian society, and the need for vocalization of higher secondary education. We can see the change in the philosophy of the Education Commission. It has tried to address the issues of knowledge explosion, human resource development even as early as 1964. The Commission's recommendations could not be implemented owing to lack of political will and commitment on the part of the government. The Policy on Education 1986, that is NPE 86. The three five-year plans between the years 1964 and 1985 also looked into the developmental aspects of education along with NPE 68. Many of the important recommendations of the Education Commission were either diluted or rejected when NPE 68 was evolved. The achievements in education in the 4 decades after independence were not impressive. There was only 20% increase in literacy universalization of elementary education, that is UEE, was a far cry growth of educational institutions, was uneven, and low retention rates and large scale dropout at primary stage were causes of concern. And low financial provisions for education indicated the priority extended to education. A status document called Challenges of Education, a Policy Perspective, which provided a framework for the education system to meet the new challenges. It resulted in the NPE 86. It contended that the role of education is essentially to transform a static society into a vibrant one. Static society means the society which is not showing any more changes. The policy recognized the need for creating not only access to education for all sections, but also getting them involved in the process of continuing education so as to promote a learning society. The NPE 86 gave an unqualified priority for UEE, emphasized on improvement of facilities, universal enrollment, and satisfactory levels of achievement. It adopted the dual track approach with simultaneous attention to adult literacy and primary education. It advocated a large scale and systematic program of non formal education. It pronounced the shift from mere equalization of opportunity to education for women's equality. The policy perceives education as an essential element for all round development of society, to sensitize the minds for furthering the goals of socialism, secularism, and democracy. It also envisages education to develop the required manpower to promote and sustain economic development. An important milestone was the laying down of minimum levels of learning for all stages. For the first time, pace setting schools were proposed. Navodaya schools for the rural talented children came into existence. DIET, that is District Institute of Educational Training, for training teachers for primary schools, while teacher training colleges and SCERTs would provide continuous in service training for secondary school teachers. As a result of the policy, the seventh five-year plan identified the thrust areas in education as 1. Universal enrollment and universal retention, and 2. Substantial improvement in the quality of education. Operation Blackboard OB was launched to implement the policy. We have seen the paradigm shift in education system from the time it was supported by the patronage of kings to the time of the British Empire to NPE 86. It reveals the situations which placed education at a critical political position. The dying away of caste based education, the prominence of English education, the efforts done by post independent India to harness benefits from education and to uplift the downtrodden by giving educational opportunities have all been discussed. The education system evolved to cater to the changing educational needs of the social structure. Constitutional provisions in India for education. The Constitution of India has provided a large number of clauses and articles which have a direct or indirect bearing on education. The national goals of the country are enshrined in the preamble. The fourfold ideal of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity has been incorporated for the elimination of social inequalities, economic disparities, and political privileges. The ideals of justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity cannot be realized unless through education and understanding among the people is created about their significance. They are the guiding principles and the base on which the future laws and regulations are framed. The new nation wanted education to serve the constitution. The education system is expected to become subordinate to the goals of the Indian constitution. The three major programs that the nation took up to meet the national objectives were: 1. Democracy as a way of life; 2. Socialistic path to secure the lives of the citizens; 3. Industrialization based upon modern science and technology. Out of the above, the first two programs are built into the constitution and the third emerged out of the deliberations of the political and administrative machinery that derived authority from the constitution. Article 45 under the directive principles of the state policy provides that the state shall endeavor to provide within a period of 10 years from the commencement of this constitution for free and compulsory education for all children until they complete the age of 14 years. Article 351, Article 29, Article 350A, B are all related to the duty of the state with respect to language, while Article 351 is concerned with promotion of Hindi language. Article 29 gives right to citizens to conserve and protect their language. Article 350A states the right to provide facilities to linguistic minority groups for instruction in the mother tongue during primary stage. Article 30 gives the right to minorities to establish the educational institution of their choice and further says that the state shall not discriminate amongst any educational institution on any grounds. Article 28 declares that no religious instruction shall be provided in an educational institution aided by the state. The Constitution provides justice in social, economic, and political spheres. Article 15 has banned all discrimination against citizens on grounds of religion, race, caste, and sex. Article 29 has provisions to eliminate discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, and color in any government aided schools. Article 16 is devoted to special reservations regarding educational facilities for scheduled castes. The Constitution gave education a very prominent role in the development of modern India. The education system was expected to build the values embedded in the Constitution, promote the educational interest of the weaker sections of educationally and socially backward classes, and provide resources for education to make primary education compulsory. The education system, being a subordinate system, was given a greater responsibility and, in turn, the Constitution. These constitutional provisions mentioned here have shown the efforts the state has taken to guarantee facilities for education to all, to eliminate discrimination and exploitation of weaker sections of society, and ensure the democratic provisions for everyone's right to express themselves so as to achieve the ideals enshrined in the Constitution. Let us sum up. We took you down the memory lane from the pre British period to 1986 to highlight the events that have shaped the education system of which you are a product. In this unit, we have discussed, though briefly, the relationship between education and society. We have seen how education functions and contributes towards the upliftment of the society. The functioning of society as a system and education as a subsystem has been discussed. We saw the shift in the emphasis of priorities in the British, and post independence period in Indian education, the ideological differences and their impact on the education of a state even in pre Christian period. We found a paradigm shift in the field of education from education as exclusive privilege to compulsory provision for primary education. The constitutional provisions for the protection of the various sections of society were also mentioned. The contributions of various commissions, plans before and after independence reveals that there were spurts of visionary and well-planned efforts, some of which did change the course of Indian education. Much more needs to achieve, which has not been achieved so far due to either political situations or political lethargy. The unit does highlight the significance and emphasis laid by various commissions on education. It is reaffirmed that education is the only tool to fulfill the constitutional obligations to bring about socio-economic transformation. So, dear learners, that's it for now. I hope you have understood whatever we discussed today. If at all you find that you have not understood a particular topic or a concept or any word, you can post it in the comments box. I'll definitely answer to it. Or, if needed, I can even make a new video for explaining that concept and post it. Do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.